Alright, welcome back to the Arena Football Nation channel. And in today's video, we got a recap of Week 2 of Arena Football 1. So, only 2 games on the docket for this week, with the Southwest Kansas Storm making the long trip over to the Albany Firebirds. And then a little regional matchup as the Oregon Lightning take on the Washington Wolfpack. So, 2 good games, a lot of storylines, so let's get right into it. Alright, so we'll start off with the Firebirds hosting the Southwest Kansas Storm. And in this game, like I said in the previous video, in the Week 0 and 1 recap, really good tests for both teams. You have the Firebirds, this will be their first game of the season. So a good test to see where they are with the Storm, who are 2-0 going into this game. Having 2 back-to-back really solid matchups go their way. Looking pretty impressive, especially defensively. So to start the game off, you just had a pretty awesome play as we had a deuce right out the gate to get MVP Arena all fired up. Really solid team Firebirds have going into this season. Had a lot of great signings, honestly. So looking to see a lot of big fireworks from them. To respond to the Storm, they scored on all of the first drive of the game. And the Firebirds quickly answered with a score of their own. So grabbing that 9-7 lead, that was it. The Firebirds never looked back. And it was a pretty dominant affair here. Albany's been chomping at the bit to get out there and get a game in and start hitting somebody. So they looked very excited and energized. The fans were doing a fantastic job as usual. You always have great fans for the Firebirds in that whole region. But everything just could possibly go good. It did for them. Everything was executed really flawlessly. You had 8 touchdown passes from Sam Casanova, grabbing another one on the ground and scoring twice on pick sixes for 11 total touchdowns on the night. Extremely impressive showing. Wow, big numbers being put up by the Firebirds in their first game. Storms, they came in looking really rough. Compared to their first 2 games. They came in a little beat up. This was obviously also a 3rd game in 14 days, so that's a lot of football in 2 weeks. I mean, not making excuses, but that's 5,000 miles in 6 days. And like I said, 3 games in 2 days, that's a lot of travel in football. So they obviously looked not as strong as their first 2 showings, but Daquan Bailey Brown, their speedy wide receiver and return man, went down with an ugly non-contact injury. So, hopefully he will be okay. Michael Lawson, one of their star defensive backs, also pulled up late in the 3rd quarter. So, got a little injury bug biting, and between the travel and everything else, just a rough situation for them. Like I said, not to make excuses at all. Firebirds, they dominated and earned everything in this game. MVP's got to be Sam Casanova. What a phenomenal quarterback in the arena and indoor game. He looked almost flawless on Friday night with this 2025 debut. Just like usual, calm, poised, and he delivers such fantastic passes. So I know the obviously the Firebird fans, they're extremely excited and happy to have him back. He went 15 for 22, tossing 7 touchdowns. Like I said, crazy amount. So very good quality on his play in that aspect. And for good measure, he said he can do it with another one on the ground, so he can run it too. He found 4 different wide receivers on his 7 touchdown passes. He and Dwayne Brown hooked up 5 times for 78 yards and 3 touchdowns, including a 45-yard touchdown catch, which was really awesome to watch. Darian Townsend caught 4 passes for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Marquell Wade had 3 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown. Isaiah Scott got in the action for 34 yards and the other Casanova touchdown as well. So Jalen Morton, man, he looked very impressive on the ground with his legs. The 6'5 quarterback showed off athleticism on Friday and never gave up by putting his body on the line. So I'm pretty impressed with his quality of play as well. He pulled up after the third quarter in favor of backup Jarius Grissom in order to protect him from injury. But within his 3 quarters of work, Morton ran the ball 9 times for 88 yards. His longest run was a 37-yard scramble, and he scored twice on the ground. So, very impressive showing to start the season off for the Albany Firebirds. Man, they just look like to be the team. It looks like it's them and just from watching these first couple games, it looks like it's them and the Outlaws again. Early projected favorites for the championship. Very impressive showings, and then I was really high on the Storm after those first 2. But I mean, with all things considered, I think we didn't see the best they had to offer in this game. So looking to see them get some rest, rebound a little bit, and come out strong in their next home game. Really solid showing. Like I said, Firebirds look hot. All right, let's get into our next game. Oh, just real quick, I usually been mentioning this. I have been mentioning this in every video so far. Field obviously fantastic. Stream quality has been top notch. Everything that I complained about has been going very well. Score bugs, have a quality stream. Don't have the camera looking off to the side at the fans when there's action on the field. Give me some other angles, some close-ups, something. I don't want to be just so far back with the camera angle that we can't even really see what's going on unless we're pressed against the TV, their screen or whatever, looking. Pretty ridiculous, I have to say or ask that, but hey, teams are still doing it. We're in 2025. But yeah, stream quality is great. Field looked amazing. I expect nothing less than top quality when it comes to the Albany Firebirds and what they have going. Never question anything about them. So just to mention, like I've been doing, very good quality streams. AF1's doing a great job. Albany Firebirds did a great job. Love the different angles and the quality of the stream. All right, let's get on to the next one. So in this matchup, we had the Washington Wolfpack and the Oregon Lightning. A little Pacific Northwest rivalry matchup here. Both teams looking in to come into this game with a victory. They're both hungry for wins, coming off losses. And, man, I gotta say, it was all Oregon Lightning that first half. They looked like they were going to run away with it. Very impressed by the quality that they had. But even better, hold your horses. Wolfpack made some adjustments in that at halftime. And that second half was all them as they came back and won the game 35-28. So what a battle, good showing for the fans there. And really, really impressed with what we had. But, close game, great action. And this would be the first of 3 matchups. So really getting into that rivalry there. But early on, like I said, Oregon was able to apply pressure on the Wolfpack secondary. But it stalled out after some defensive adjustments by Washington. And then a combination of poorly thrown passes and Oregon's defensive backs playing a sticky coverage was likely the difference in the half. Washington's defense was constantly on the field because the offense was constantly stalling. Late in the second, the Wolfpack created some offensive and defensive opportunities, stealing the momentum, and Oregon tied the game up in with just 7 minutes. And in the third, all but put the game away. Washington must have stole all of Oregon's electrolytes because the Lightning's charge all fizzled out. Pretty awesome game there for both teams. So good bounce back at the end of the day. Very good bounce back for both teams after their first 2 games being, or the first game for each team being tough losses. But Dalton Cole and his receivers came out firing on all cylinders. Really impressed with them. Spreading the ball around and connecting with multiple players. Chris Lewis was nearly unstoppable, collecting multiple long, spectacular touchdown passes. Lewis made multiple highlight reel level catches, and they were the 2 that stood out. So, adjustments made. You had Washington make those adjustments, and the Wolfpack finally were able to put some stops to hold down the Lightning, and then just run away with the game. And yeah, it was just a tale of 2 halves, and really impressed with how Washington was able to bounce back and get that victory in the first, like I said, of the 3 matchups this season. Game quality obviously was at Washington again. Still looks like there was a little bit fewer fans, so don't know what's going on with that. I figured they would definitely came and showed out for this game, but overall, once again, quality was fine. Really impressed that, you know, everything is going good. You know, I'm a little hesitant, waiting for the bad thing to happen. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's just how it is after we had that terrible last season. But overall, quality looks good for Washington still. Great score bug. I was really impressed with that. You know, good quality. Didn't have any questions on what down it was or anything. So really good for the AF1 in Washington Wolfpack in week 2. Alright, everybody, that was it for the week 2 matchups. Only 2 games on the docket there, but we are going right back at it next week with here's a little preview of next week. We have a rematch with the Corpus Christi Tritons, you know, hosting the Salina Liberty. That'll be on Friday, March 28th at 6 p.m. That what is it? Standard time for that Texas Midwest time. Then you have another matchup, the Albany Firebirds going to the Nashville Cats, and that will be on Saturday, March 29th. So good little matchups there. As look to see if any adjustments can be made by Liberty, and same matchup as they had in their first game against the Tritons. Or will the Tritons, you know, continue to just be firing all cylinders and take it to the Liberty again? Firebirds, can they stay hot? Was that, you know, going into this game against the Nashville Cats? The Nashville Cats are looking to bounce back from their loss in their first game of the season. So 2 great matchups to continue to see how this season and league plays out this early on. All right, everybody, that will do it for our week 2 coverage and recap of the games. All right, so after that coverage, let's take a look at the standings real quick. You have in the Central Division, Corpus Christi Titans still 1-0, only played that 1 game. Southwest Kansas Storm in second with that 2-1 record after a loss to the Firebirds. And then the Salina Liberty at 0-1, having only played that 1 game against the Tritons. In the East, Firebirds are 1-0 after that big showing in their first win of the season. And the Nashville Cats are sitting at 0-1 with that 1 game loss they have. In the West, Billings Outlaws not dominant. First game they played 1-0. And then in second, you have the Washington Wolfpack at 1-1. And then the Oregon Lightning rounding out 0-2, looking rough in their first 2 games. Going to have to turn it around, make those adjustments. All right, everybody, that was a quick little recap of week 2 and what our current standings. And I appreciate you checking out the video. Subscribe if you want to follow along for more content going forward. We're going to do recaps and coverage of all the arena leagues this 2025 season. And also, like the video if you appreciate this content, and continue to show us that, you know, that you support and you're just happy with what we're doing here on the Arena Football Nation. All right, everybody, that'll do it for the video. I'll see you in the next one.